Well, hello, everyone. How are you doing, folks? Good to see you. Hope everything is going good on this here Monday. Hope your strong end of the week was a good one. And, hey, we're all still here. Although I'm sure that the rails and the cycle up there is busy. So how is everyone? Hello, Franny. Hello, Sherry. Ian, Joyce, Flight Risk, good to see you. Occultus, good to see you as well. Beth, hey, Brian, peace, man. Milky Way Weekly, Jared. Wow, so many groovy people here. Seriously, they really, all of y'all are. Darth, good to see you. Lady Gray, peace be unto you. Jack, good to see you. Al, good to see you, my friend. Mac Rob, Barry, David, Crystal, greetings and peace. Hey, I love that. And think agape, love always. Hey, and all the rest of you good people, welcome. Thank you for being part of the community here. And wasn't any of my doing, trust me. I claim nothing to this, as they would say. I didn't got nothing to do with it. So I hope you're doing good and that life is finding you well on this day. Hold on one second. Always with the advertisements. What is it? You can't escape it. I'm telling you, that's what hell is. It's the advertisements. I mean, wow. I mean, I hope it's not that way in the next realm, Death brought to you by all the, it's like, yeah, all right, cool. So invoking great favor upon you this day of weird energy. Yeah. And may there be abundant peace in your life, prosperity, and full restoration, nothing missing, nothing broken. And that comes in a big bundle. Is anyone else feeling a little, I don't know. It was weird. I woke up this morning. So I was thinking about this. So think about what you were doing yesterday. All right. Now, replay the tape, the disc, whatever, and think about everything you did yesterday. Now, look at it from the perspective, did it feel like you spent 15, 16 hours doing what you were doing? Doesn't, does it? I mean, I had a pretty busy day yesterday and, read a whole lot and got a lot done. And I was thinking yesterday, it's like, this is odd. I'm doing, it seemed like I was doing a lot. And I did. I got a lot accomplished, but I don't know. Do you have a sense that somehow time is a little different? I contend, and it's just a hypothesis. There's nothing, I can't prove it other than just, that gut feeling you get. But, I keep saying, if gravity can be distorted, so can time. And if time and gravity both can be distorted, what makes us think that we would not be subjected to the same type of effects on a planet? I don't know. Want to get a chance to catch up on some of the comments. I'm catching up, Linda. There's a number of people that you're in the you're in the queue, as they would say. So I'm going to get to your emails. Someone was talking about the journey of the souls and made the comment, yeah, tomorrow's yesterday. Isn't that the truth, Al? Seriously, it's just weird. Maybe it's just me, but I don't think it is, because I got emails here that say just the different. It's happening frequently, it appears. Y'all heard yesterday the show with Jeff and Cynthia, that as they were driving from the airport to their convention that, she saw a plane take off that just stood still. A lot of that going on. A lot of that going on. Something's going on. I don't know what it is, but yeah, think about it. So I've been thinking about this whole thing. It's an interesting book, but I'm kind of like some other people. I'm going, you know what? This sucks. I don't want to come back. And if this is what it's really all about, and no one answers the question for me as I put out to the universe, all right. So time out here. If what you're saying that this is how a soul, a spirit, apparently evolves is by coming back, hundreds and who knows how many lifetimes. And somehow or another, you're supposed to be subconsciously or super subconsciously accomplishing things that you need in your karmatic bank account. I don't know, good or bad, but I always go back to patient zero. If I come into this thing as a newly created, spirit, soul, basically unrecognized potential, how could I have a negative karma? I mean, at what point do we pick up? I mean, is it like the welcome wagon? You come in and, well, welcome. Here is your pack. And what, does some have positive karma that, because you had to start out with a clean slate somewhere. Yeah, I don't know. Think about it. And so that got me to thinking, all right, so what happens now when the earth ends? I mean, at some point in time, the universe is old, they say, really old. And unless Earth is somehow regenerating itself in a fashion that we have and is immune to the effects of the universe itself, which I don't think it is, then some point in time, this thing ends, this rock ends. So what happens then? What, is there a wholesale transfer? I mean, is it seriously, is it like, there is a bargain on aisle 4 and all the rest of you go to aisle 6? Is this what it is, like getting on board an airplane? No one wants that number past 50. What number you got? 96. Oh, you really suck, man. I don't know. How does that work? And then I would begin to think about magic. I've been reading a lot of books. I mean, we're going to get into more about this powerful magic, sigil magic. And I am becoming convinced only by experience that this is probably the most powerful magic I know of that will work for your needs in this realm. But anyway, I began to think about it and I go, now, wait a minute. A lot of what I'm reading out of these books, particularly that come out post Roman Empire, Rome was apparently frightened of witchcraft. I don't know how that's true. They had so many cults, but most of what we read, Agrippa, Franz, Bardon, and I can just go on the whole list, and then we'll be visiting all of these cats. We're going to come up with our cup of tea and say, "Hey, Henry, let's have a talk." But they're all predicated on a kabbalistic theology. I could say philosophy, but don't know if that's the right word. Ideology, maybe. It's permeated in all of the writings that we see. Now, my question is, so what about us who say, well, I don't like that Jewish God. Don't like that Hebrew God. Don't think I like the Sumerian gods. Why is it required that I give homage, respect to a deity that I don't believe in? One, I certainly don't support. So it gives me the thought that, well, there has to be maybe something else that replaces that. I mean, there's a tangible power, a force that I know that we can tie into. I've seen it all my life. As I look back on my life now, I mean, there were 5 different times I should have been dead. Came damn close on about 4 of them. But yet, here I am. And then I see lives that we know of a situation. It's tragic. A child dying, nothing they can do. No. And then there's the stupidity of those taking selfies that fall over cliffs. I don't get the selfie thing. I really don't. I don't know. I maybe I'm missing something, but apparently, you know, more people are dying taking selfies. Anyway, I digress. So I don't like the Jewish God. In fact, I can be very honest with you. I don't like any of them. I haven't met one God, read about one God that I like. To me, they're all pricks. If there's one that I would say that I have at least a respect for, it would be Lilith. And apparently she has respect for me. And, you know, it's because all the rest. And, you know, you look at this thing with people that are into worshiping or invoking archangels. Why? Why would I want to do that? I mean, if that archangel is working for that Jewish God, I don't want any of that. And wait a minute, time out here again. I spent, you know, started reading the Bible when literally I was 8 years old. I have a birthday coming up here not too soon, and real soon, not too soon, real soon. But anyway, Gabriel, as I read in the Old Testament, that dude is a mass murderer. I mean, wiped out. Now, if you buy the story of Exodus, it was Gabriel that came through and slew all the babies. I mean, I don't know if I like that. No, I can think about that. I don't like that. You know, geez. How do you approach something like that? You know, obviously, you know, if all myths have a foundation of truth somewhere, all right. So I'll buy the fact that, okay, so let's just say that there was such a creature. How do you approach that? You know, what? This thing just starts slaying people by not just onesies or twosies. We're talking tens, hundreds of thousands. Whoa. I mean, I don't want to have coffee or tea with someone like that. So, how do you deal with that? I mean, that means that it's leading to some conclusions here. Again, I haven't met any God of this world that I like. You know, I have a sign right up there, the one I'm pointing to right there. That's 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. You know why I have it up there? Because I've yet to meet a God that will meet those job requirements. I haven't met one. And, you know, for the longest time, the one I did believe in made me such a miserable person. Man, talk about the guilt complex. And then the self-abuse and, the negative. I mean, it just goes on and on. You just become one miserable son of a bitch. No one wants to be around you. No, that isn't any way to go through life. So, like I said, when I find one that actually meets that, the only one that I have found that met that yet inside is me. I know that sounds odd, but seriously, that's, All right, let's get into, boy, how'd you like that for an opening monologue, huh? Wow, Wayne, way to go, buddy. We got some affirmations to do here. So let's get right into it. Give me 1 second. So I think we're on our 3rd week. Wow. I hope all of you are following. Listen, I've gotten reports. People that are in the chat room right now, things are changing for them. I can say the same for myself. So anyway, let's go. I am therefore acknowledging from this day forward, God, our divine creator. Now, see, I can dig that. Someone started all this, unless you just believe in the divine chaos theory. I don't like those house odds on that one, excuse me. As my only source of my needs, my supply, meeting all my physical and spiritual needs, isn't it interesting? Because it is I, only need to be conscious and aware of that fact. Thus, and thank you, Peter, for doing this. God is lavish and limitless within me. The spirit within is the source of all my needs, flows with abundance, is my supply, is unlimited and eternal, meets all of my needs, restores me, is part of the infinite source, and the spirit within praises that creator, that infinite source. I acknowledge God, the divine and infinite source of all, residing within me as the only true source of my prosperity, restoration, care, and intervention. I love that word. Way to go, my friend. And total fulfillment of the spirit within, the physical and the mental bodies. Blessed be the Creator for his mercy. And I can dig that word mercy. It's a cool word. It really is. We all need and want mercy. And more importantly, we all have the ability to administer mercy. Think about that. And then I love this one. If you start thinking about this, where we're going to get into sigil magic, this will literally supercharge your sigil. If you begin to believe this, and I do, while I still have breath in this realm, it gives me a special advantage. Now, the next realm apparently is telepathic. A lot of us are going to have to learn how to speak that, aren't we? Yeah, just imagine, this is what you should have on your expectation for the next realm. The first one be learning the language. Anyway, I digress. All right, let's go with this. Every word that goes forth out of my mouth, it shall not return to me void without producing any effect. Now that's important because that's a boomerang. It says your words are going to produce an effect. You are charging them. You are literally energizing them. And so your subconscious, your super conscious hears this, and it's going to make it happen. Let's continue. But it shall accomplish that which I please and purpose, and it shall prosper in the thing for which I sent it forth. And again, you got to think about this, man. You know, you're driving along and something happens. If the first word out of your mouth is an FU or, you know, etc., that ought to give you all the indication you need, brother, that things ain't right. You need a little away time, because that shouldn't be the first thing out of your mouth. It shouldn't. It should be something very positive. Like, fantastic. I don't know what this is going to bring, but it's going to bring something good. And of course, that makes you look a little weird, but hey, that's okay. So there we go. Hope you are, if you need the copies of this, I've been sending them out as regularly as I can. There's a lot of people want them, and I hope you do what you see. I have them right here behind me. Now, the Isaiah 55, I've known that one for a long time. And this is why when I have, I guess, in a sense, rediscovered or discovered sigil magic, I've been operating in that for decades. Many of you have as well. Hey, Peter, how you doing? This is the man who wrote that, so give him the thanks. Hey, 7P, there's lots of other people in here, so good to see everyone. So I've known that. It's so part of the core of my foundation. One of the things that my wife, Lynn, had to learn when we were first getting to know one another was that I was almost to the extreme. But then again, it's not so bad. So sigil magic, think about it. It's real. It's everywhere. By the way, those affirmations are in this book. If any of you want to get it, it's Abundance book. It's a cool book. I mean, I think it's a little heavy on the Judeo-Christian side, but you know, the way I look at it, I guess, how shall I say, I enjoy eating vegetables, but there are some that I don't enjoy at all, like beets. I don't like hominy. And when I say that, I can still, as a child, I was living with my grandparents. I am 6 years old, sitting at the dining room table. Prince, our dog, is underneath, and I'm feeding Prince lima beans. The dog wouldn't eat the hominy either. I mean, and my grandfather made me eat every one of those hominy corn. Oh man, now the smell of it. But I like grits. Go figure. Hey, so it's just a matter. You know, I think you can get a lot out of this. And my point is, there's a lot of interesting magic in, you know, the Bible, the Quran, the Vedic. There is in many of these religious sacred books. Remember, some dude wrote it. It was channeled. I mean, no spirit came down there and did it. By the way, as you continue to get into sigil knowledge, you're going to find that automatic writing will become much more. So anyway, check it out. Do what you want to do with that. Real quick, before we get into the rest of this, I want to show just, I see these things, and to me, they're good discussion points. So who would have thought that the best therapy in your life is probably saying no? This article, it's in The Guardian, goes on to simply say, which I thought was just very interesting, that when you think about it, how many times have you sacrificed your time when you didn't know how to say no? How many times have you been so inconvenienced in a situation where you ask yourself, what the hell was I thinking? Yeah. So apparently, saying no works in many, many things to our advantage. Now, of course, when I read this, I thought, I wonder if that would apply over into the next realm. You know, go to the light, Carolyn, go to the light. All right, I don't know. They say they got other beings maybe around there that's ushering. Get your hands off of me. You know what I'm saying? As Dow Holliday said, I don't like being pawed. So, just something to think about. Folks, I did a whole series called the Bloodline Invader series. This is what the Bloodline Invader series was about. Now, this is getting, I'm telling you, it's magic, folks, but it's a magic of a different kind. So get this. This whole thing now of the rich getting blood transfusion of youth. A number of billionaires are putting their cash to good use by trying to find a cure for aging. Now, I'm sure if you are one of the richest persons in the world, aging becomes a major enemy, opponent, adversary. So Jeff Bezos, he's all about it, man. He's got a company called Unity, hopes to stop the aging process. Folks, what we're talking about here is genetic manipulation. It said it's already raised over 116 million in funding. Not bad. PayPal founder Peter Thiel is also plowing a lot of cash into Unity as well. It's the Holy Grail. And I guess if technology and if the gods are, who knows? Yeah. I've done a number of stories on this, the chip in the brain. It's here. Already they got betas out there. People walking around with them. Zuckerberg is all into this, man. I mean, he sees this thing as coming to an end. Apocalypse insurance, huge bunkers. They're buying the former missile silos. And there you get right here, young blood transfusion. While they say this may seem like something straight out of sci-fi, there are companies out there conducting trials into the effects of blood transfusions. Transfusing blood from young, healthy people, especially those between the ages of 16 and 25. Man, I can get into the dark magicking on this shit right here, baby. I mean, you want to get funky? Uh-huh. No difference. Just because it's in a clinic, sterilized is no different than what was being done 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, 5,000 years ago. And to those who feel that they're getting on in years could reverse aging. That's not to say it's restricted to the elderly. Anyone age 35 and up is a viable for this service. This is where Peter Thiel comes in. He's made headlines over the last few years. It's rumored his interest in this process, specifically related to a startup company called Ambrosia. I ain't making this stuff up, folks. Yeah. Digital consciousness. I mean, we've been all over this. We're still into this. What is consciousness? If we can't define consciousness as a sentient, aware being, I'll guarantee a machine can. Let us continue. How many of you had a problem on YouTube yesterday? Facebook, everything. Folks, it was a test, and not the one that we wanted to know about, but we now know they can do it. This is right out of Zero Hedge. Did the government just test the internet kill switch? Well, apparently so, because if you had Google, Uber, Snapchat, YouTube, all of them down. Now, here's the interesting thing to follow up behind this one. This is a Fast Company. Google, if you, but think about this. If you got a smart home, the net goes down, someone pulls the switch, well, you better have a backup plan, because a lot of these people were locked out of their houses, amongst everything else, air conditioning, the list just goes on and on. Before as we get into the rest of it, I just want to show you folks, I'm going to be talking more about this on my Thursday show. See it? I mean, that's what it is. That's a robotic painter. Can now paint masterpieces that have taken us a very long time. This robot, along with the aid of artificial intelligence, can literally pump out works of art. Yeah. Really, really weird. All right. So I know it's so bizarre, isn't it? It just freaks me out. I mean, I keep on, to steal the phrase, like one in the wilderness. It's like, man, something ain't right here, folks. I don't know. You know, one way I still see myself 40 years ago. That hasn't changed. That inner image hasn't altered at all. But it's the perception of the spatiality of the passing of time that gets to be a real mind coitus. I mean, it really does. And, you know, as much as I want to begin to get this thought that, you know, when I leave this realm, I will be amongst those that are on the same path. Many of you I hope to see. And there you go, Al, there's your sigil. And by the way, we're going to be studying much, much more of that. So anyway, right where I was going. Anyway, so sigil magic. This is powerful stuff. There's no doubt about it. I have been fascinating with the books that I have been reading. This is, I'm telling you, I'm convinced that a person who becomes versed enough, and this book thus far, I've just about almost finished it. It has been a most fascinating journey in giving a perspective historically of this science. I will say it's science. Magic is only a term for the ignorant because they can't understand that there's a process in everything. Even a spirit materializing enough for you to see it is they have learned how to be able to take etheric energy, my terminology, and convert it into kinetic energy to the point where they can manifest photons, where they can actually have cause and effect of kinetic energy forces. This is a fascinating thing to me. Apparently, it takes a mature spirit to do it. Otherwise, we would be in this realm in total chaos. So, sigils. I learned about I guess it's been over 2 decades ago, 20 years. The stories of the Kabbalists, that the stories of Moses, Ebenezer, Phineas, that these were master magi's, and they knew how to take symbology in a manner that would allow to open up, you can call them portals, you can call them, I don't know, channels. Anyway, they were certainly powerful enough that they could do some pretty wild things. Yeah, I don't think flying would be out of that realm. Ebenezer Scrooge. Yeah, actually, Ebenezer was an interesting cat. It really was. But these are the stories most people don't get, because we get the sanitized version of what's going on. So, folks, we're going to get into now. Tomorrow, Trina is going to be on, and we're going to be talking about triggers. But I'm convinced the more and more we go around, if you take the alphabet, in fact, let me pull up something. Had it up on my Kindle that, so I'm just going to read this because this is really, I think it's pretty accurate. We've been reading part of this before, and it says, sigil spells can be cast for any purpose. Everything in reality that occurs as an action can theoretically be instigated through a sigil. If it is possible, a sigil spell can accomplish it. Sigils cannot violate the laws of the cosmos, or if they can, it is so difficult to do so that it is not worth troubling with it. Happen to agree with it. That said, sigil magic works through probability. It spins the direction of what could happen in your favor. Some foolishly seek the impossible through it. Do not waste your time. Magic may be divided into two basic types: destructive and constructive. Destructive magic tears down and gnaws away. It brings chaos to order and absence to presence. It removes, takes away. Constructive magic is the opposite. It builds and develops. Give me 1 second here, folks. There we go. It brings order to chaos and presence to absence. It adds, it gives. Both are useful. And like reality, there is no inherent goodness or wickedness to either. They simply are. They can be directed anywhere. They are focus, they are forces, not judgments. They are forms, not substances. Wow. Folks, just the knowledge of this alone, I hope is aiding you. I know it is. Many of you are writing on your progress. This is powerful stuff, man. Powerful stuff. Intermediate and advanced sorcerers do not need to be told what to seek through them. Beginners may find some guidance useful, though in magic, one must learn to crawl before walking and learn to walk before flying. This means start small. Magical development is gradual. It takes many years to become proficient, and out of the 10 aspiring magicians, 7 fail from premature grandiosity. They seek sublime, wonderful things at the outset and find nothing. It is better to first seek what is easy and of little consequence. In fact, there is no better advice to a beginner than to cast spells for matters of indifference. Do not balk at this. Desire is an obstacle at first. The human personality is accustomed to first desiring, then obtaining. The magical personality learns to obtain by doing away with desire, at least in some matters. The energy of your conscious mind must be trained to sink into its own depths. And the more it consciously wants something, the more difficult it is for the unconscious to achieve it. Therefore, start small, experiment, cast sigil spells for matters of trifling amusement. First, see if you can. Once success dawns, keep at it, enlarging success scopes. Then move on to more important and weighty matters. This is the quickest way to success. I think it was Al. I don't think I'm going to disclose any kind of confidentiality or anything, but he's learning. Talked about his car, waiting to get the tires rotated, I think. And he knew he was going to be there for an hour and a half. What he did, he got a stone and he put a sigil on it and did the pain method. In other words, focus on whether it's on your abs, whether it's on your thighs, and just start squeezing. Keep that image. What is it that you want? Transfer that image into that sigil. Keep on pushing on those thighs. Hurt. Get it. Keep on digging. And when you can't take it anymore, release it. And then he just threw it away. Guess what will happen? Yeah, you got it. His car was up next. Yeah. Seriously. So I'm going to take a little break from there because we have some of the things in there, but this is the part. Now, I'm going to get this on Kindle because I think that it's got some parts in here that are really helpful. It's like this shirt I'm wearing. Everyone knows superheroes, but every superhero has a sigil, a glyph, something that represents what? Superman, Batman, the Flash. It just goes on and on. It's quite amazing. Do I think the Nazca's lines are sigil? That, Richard, is a great question. Excellent question. The more I am reading, all right, so let's take this to the extreme, all right, Richard? So we're going to deviate off the path here, but this is why we do this. It's fun. Think about where the Nazca lines are in Peru, right? Now, what is directly almost due south to southeast of there? It is where the old maps. Remember, Reese, we studied that. We were with Brian on Friday. It is called the land of the Nephilim, the giants. I think it's Deborah Tucker that has a real good picture library. I believe that there's ample evidence to show that this earth has gone through many different reiterations of life, if what it's held is life. And I think that there was a time of where there were giants. So now let's just go. Let's say that these giants understood magic. We call it magic. They would probably maybe call it science. They understood the elements. They understood how the elements work. We're going to get right back into Agrippa in understanding these elements that work in this realm that we can't see, where sigil magic comes into play. So I think, Richard, to answer your question, I think they very well could have been. Why not? I mean, this stuff works, folks. It really does. And I don't like seeing people be broke. I don't like people to see that they don't have enough. So many of you work so damn hard. Bust your ass day in and day out. So many of you meet just challenges that shouldn't be there. I think sometimes it's like being in a bathtub. The water starts swishing and you're trying to get the hell out of there and you just keep getting on splashed on. This is where I know this will work. And if you start out small, it'll lead to something really big. And some of us have got so much experience because of the doctrination that we come out of, which is not a bad thing, folks. It's not. It's kind of cool. I look at it as kind of grateful. We Jeff and I talked about the whole thing with the preachers, and their jets and everything else. And, I guess there's another way of looking at it. They just figured out a different type of magic, and that magic's powerful, man. Make you rich. I know of a person who's really good at with numbers. They all and she doesn't abuse it. In other words, she doesn't go and play the lottery. That it's amusing when she goes to Las Vegas. They do a couple times a year. She has the most amazing luck. Now, I don't think it's luck. I don't think it is at all. There's something else going on there. And I've seen it in my own life. I don't particularly like gambling, but because the house odds are always against you. So, but if you go into that, it is entertaining in a social environment. And I like playing roulette. Do all right on craps, but roulette is my game. And there was times when I was doing a lot of traveling. Las Vegas was a place for conventions and meetings. And my wife found out very quickly that, there was a number that I have, 29, I'll tell you. And I have to basically go around to which roulette wheels are in play. And if I don't feel the energy, I won't play. But there's this thing I get, and it's like, yeah. And inevitably 29 comes up. So is that part of, tapping into something? Yeah, I think so. I really do. And now I'm understanding. So I've actually been working on a sigil of my own. I showed y'all what the one thing that I've gotten, and it comes down to this, and I'll be practicing it a lot more. And I hope that you're doing the same. I'm going to get as many books as I can to really, folks, I'm telling you, if you get into this, if you'll learn the discipline behind it, understand how this works, how you can literally charge these sigils, you're going to see them everywhere. And they are. They're everywhere. And the thing about it is, we call them logos. It's just a sigil is what it is. And I can tell you, every startup company, you want something that identifies your company. Now, the problem is we're losing creativity, but back in the day, I'm convinced that many graphic designers who are primarily female, if they weren't witches, they were tapped into something that they should have been. Most of the very talented, and I'm not saying the guys are not, but many, many women in my career just had a special talent. And when we talk about just, and this is a thing that I was like last night reading on this, is learning how we can begin to draw our own sigils, and then how we can charge them. And, whether you use the pain method, if you have the time to be alone in the intimacy of an environment, the sexual way is pretty powerful. And it's really quite interesting how you begin to charge these things. I never realized that how this worked, but we were doing it all the time. It's quite amazing. Hold on a second, folks. It's those. I don't want to give them money. I can see it just turning up on there. Anyway, I digress. So this is powerful stuff. And when you tie it into what we're going to continue on it, in fact, let's just get into, I wanted to read this with Agrippa. Where we left off on chapter 21, Agrippa said of the virtue of things which are in them only in their lifetime, and such as remain in them even after their death. So, excuse me, actually, I already read all this, so I'm going to have to put that because I queued it up wrong. It happens. It does. So, as we continue to go into this, I think we should have, and if you'd like to come on, particularly if you have experience in this, and you can teach us your insights, love to have you on. This is some powerful stuff. Now, I just got some beautiful work sent in, and I'm going to actually showcase it tomorrow. There's many of you that are talented. There's some powerful magicians in here, folks. Those of you that are in the chat room, you have the opportunity to be around, like I said, powerful witches. I love these people. These are our people. This is what we're here for. Empaths, intuitives. And quite frankly, they did their best to burn this knowledge. Let me pull up something here because I really want to show you something. Give me a second here. I'm trying to find it so you can see. Yeah. All right. So let me pull this up. There we go. Okay. Magic writing. Follow with me. Walk with me on this one, folks. If you believe in your Bible, your Quran, whatever your holy sacred book is, it is nothing but a magic writing. That's all it is. Either someone was in a trance, someone was communicating from something, but it is magic writing. And it goes on to say, the Hermetic science of the early Christian ages, cultivated by the Arabs, studied by the chiefs of the Templars, and embodied in certain symbols of a higher degrees of Freemasonry, may be accurately defined as the Kabbalah in active realism, or the magic of works, Albert Pike, Freemason. Now study this, folks. You know why it's so familiar with us? Because it's everywhere. You'd be surprised, or variants of it. Now, I contend that there are powerful, powerful magicians still walking the earth, wizards. At the beginning of the 21st century, the majority of westernized people live in a material ignorance of the spiritual truths of our occult heritage. However, when asked about the magic origins of the alphabet, the uninitiated will reply that the letters are probably derived from the drawings of the stars, as in the signs of the zodiac, and ordered accordingly. This answer, although not technically correct, is a reminder of the archaic resonance of such signs, having psychological embedded themselves within mankind's prehistoric subconsciousness. They enabled even the most illiterate human to retain such distant memories of their origins. Folks, what I'm trying to say to you is this, and we'll pick up on this probably Wednesday. Letters, alphabets, are sigils. Is anyone getting this with me? The alphabet is nothing more than a group of sigils that, when combined, invoke a thought, an image of some kind. When written, can also have an immediate psychic kinetic impact in the physical realm. And I'll give you an example. You want to know how fast this can work? All right, so everyone work with me on this one. Close your eyes. Now imagine you are a bank teller. You work in a bank. Can you actually see yourself now? You're behind the counter, right? And a guy walks up and slips you a note, and it says, "Give me all the money or you die." How much do you think those words, those sigils, when combined in that array, has a physical impact on you? So, kind of puts it all into a different perspective, doesn't it? Spelling, we're now understanding what they were trying to hide. Think about it. An alphabet is nothing more than a collection of sigils. That's all it is. And if you are a master enough to where you can learn to arrange those sigils to your benefit, don't tell me it won't have effect. All right, folks, been fun. Oh, I tell you, it's like Alice in Wonderland. It really is. It's like, oh man, this is because it's like, really, it's freaking like waking up going, oh man, I've been here all along. You know, you think you're going to a destination, but really you're right back where you started because it's all there. Yeah, Brian, absolutely. The English language was created for control and spell casting. That is exactly it. Yeah, you know, folks, Darth, don't feel like you're alone. I'm sitting in my chair reading, and, you know, you step back and you go, holy crap. I mean, and it is spell casting sigil magic at its highest. I mean, think about it. In America, we have the Declaration of Independence. I mean, you think about the sigil magic of the alphabet. And you, I just thought about this. So we take it to a whole level. This is almost Enochian type of alphabet. We call this thing legalese. And you get your ass caught up in that on the wrong side, you're about to find out how quick sigil magic will work and how it's spoken in a language that you thought you knew, that you've realized you have no knowledge of at all. Follow the white rabbit. You got it. Another one, I just saw that, Matt. Very good. Wordsmithing. What is a smith? Come on, folks. We live in a world of magic. It's everywhere. And I may get all the ridicule. I don't care anymore. Because I can prove succinctly. It doesn't matter what you believe, sweetheart. It's here. It's what we're in. And the thing that's freaking me out a little bit, I don't want this to extend into the next realm, but I got a sense it does. I think even more so than what any of us have been taught. Woo! All right. I had a good time. Love you, folks. You are the best. Man, we're going to get this together. And this is a powerful community, and we meet here every day. And, you know, it's getting good. I learned from you folks, and I hope to reciprocate back in kind. All right. See you tomorrow with Miss Trina. Going to be fun. Really looking forward to this whole thing about triggers. I'm convinced, as I've been reading some of these books, that I've been seeing these symbols, that it is a trigger. Yeah, think about that. All right, folks, be good to yourselves. All right, all the best to you. Thank you for watching. Thank you, moderators. Peace. Dancer says peace too. Bye.